Alright, happy April 7th, 2023. Here in the shop, we're going to do a brief overview of the new 2023 890 GPS phone device mount. I'll tell you about the product for a hot second, and then we'll do installation, and then we'll go over proper operation of it after the air compressor stops. Okay, here is the product, or I should say the two different versions of the product. We'll start with the base here. It's a pressed broke stainless steel TIG welded frame that's powder coated in black currently. Maybe I'll do orange, I'm not sure yet. And then we have a 12 millimeter bar. The two different versions we have for the angle adjustment is a cam handle or a thumb knob here. So this pops out. That's how we get our rotational adjustment. Same with this. The difference is the cam handle can apply a little bit more force to hold it tighter for maybe more extreme off-road conditions. More importantly, I think, is the fact that it's just larger, more accessible with gloves on. I know most of us are riding with gloves, and this with your device mounted here is going to be a little bit more tricky to access. Still accessible, you know, and works essentially the same way. This comes in a little bit better price point simply because of the cost of these cam handles. They're made in Germany. Like I said, the product's a frame with your adjustment piece, 12 millimeter bar. This is a product that already exists, that I already make for like the Yamaha T7, the Aprilia 660. Those bikes have a 12 millimeter crossbar directly above the dash display. So you can buy this, it clamps directly to that 12 millimeter bar. You have this vertical adjustment here. You also have the amps pattern, standardized pattern, 30 by 38 millimeter. It is threaded M4 holes, and we have that bolt pattern both in the portrait and landscape orientation so that you can mount your device either way. So now we'll go over the install and operation of this product, and then we'll look at a few devices that fit on it. All right, here's what comes in the kit. You've got your device mount itself. You have 4 M4 socket head cap screws that are used to attach your device to this amps pattern. And then we have 2 M5 Dacromet plated KTM bolts and 2 M5 flat washers. You also get 2 sets of pigtails here with flat blade connections already crimped and heat shrunk on there for you. These flat blade connections plug directly into the auxiliary power wiring that's inside the bike. I'm not going to go over that today. We'll save it for another video. But it allows you to plug these directly in, so you don't have to cut, strip, manipulate the bike wiring itself. The other end is bare. That's left for you to get this to your device. All right, let's get started. This should be fairly quick. There's pretty much one tool required. Number 30 Torx bit. Step 1 is remove the windscreen. So we've got 6 screws to do this. They're kind of rubber bushing, so you gotta kind of pull them out as we take them out. We're gonna pull the 2 side ones here first. And then we've got 4 of them in the front. I'm gonna loosen that last one mostly. And that's it. Pretty simple there. And then in the top, this piece of plastic right here, this comes off. The GPS mount replaces it. And again, it's size 30 Torx screws. So remove the 2 of those. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. One and 2. Set those aside. This piece of plastic slides backwards towards the tank. can be a little bit stiff, but that comes off. Remove it. The mount itself, we'll change the camera angle here. All right, again, device mount itself goes right in here, depending on how it was packaged. The cam handle may be in the way of it being able to go in there, so just got to shift it a little bit. It sits right in there. It's a fairly tight fit right up against the edges. You want to push it all the way to the back to the point that it stops. That's where the screws go in. You got your two M5 KTM screws here. You've got your two flat washers. You go on there. So I'm just holding this pushed all the way back up against the plastic so that we're kind of making contact in 3 areas all the way around it. Here's my T30 again, number 30 Torx, and I have a handy dandy Torx screwdriver. 35 inch-pounds is the recommendation, not foot-pounds. Put your half-inch drive away. It's just screwdriver tight. That's all it is. You know, it's brass inserts molded into plastic. Don't use Loctite on them. There's that. And then you put the windscreen back on and you're done. All right, let's go over the usage of the device. Thumb knob version, super simple, right? Loosen, tighten. There's not much more to it than that. If you want to change the position of where the knob ends, like where you're calling it tight, just loosen it and take the head of that bolt and rotate it. You know, rotate it a quarter of a turn, half a turn. You know, and then it ends up in a different spot at the same torque. Cam handle, right? You can adjust the tension of this, how tight, how much force you're applying to this crossbar in order to stop it from rotating. Yes, you can make a revolution of the cam handle, but it's a very coarse adjustment and you're gonna end up far too loose, or go tightening, you're far too tight, one or the other. So you need to make fine-tune adjustments with the bolt here in the end. You can do it with your fingertips, or you can grab a 4mm Allen and do it with that. And you know, just move it 1/8 of a turn at a time until you get the desired force to keep your device in place. Now, note to make about this: you can get this very, very tight, and you can put a ton of force on this cam handle. You're not going to damage this unit at all. That's not the concern. The concern is the bike itself. You have 2 M5 screws threaded into brass inserts that are molded into plastic, okay? You can't just get super ham-fisted with this thing, you know, and try to break the thing off. You're probably capable of it. So, if you really want to crank this down and get it really tight, what you need to do is internalize the forces into the bracket itself and use it as a brace. So, you know, hold this inside edge and clamp that with your palm or the outside of it and clamp it down that way. And that way, you're not pushing on the bike or forcing the bike. This thing is rock solid. The only movement in it is the entire head unit and the flex of all this plastic up here. Yeah, you're moving that, the TFT's moving with it. We had a little bit of flex before I added that brace in there. I didn't really care for it, so decided to add some welding to the product, and anyway, it makes it better, it's more rigid. But anyway, just a note for you guys. Yes, you can tighten this thing up a ton, and then you know, you can bear it out. Just don't do that. Use your head. So yeah, you can just grab that and rotate it. And the thing, you know, is solid. Up, rotate, you know, and you can move this handle to various positions. You could probably even move it, you know, vertically if you wanted it up there for some reason. And again, as you move it, you're changing the force there, and you need to adjust it with that bolt head. You're gonna figure out what you like. It's a one-time adjustment. You're gonna figure out where you want that, you know, bolt head to be and what the tension is, and it's going to be the same every time, day in, day out. And even, you know, you can pop it, just kind of pop it loose when you're riding, and you've got some static friction there that kind of keeps this thing in place. You know, just kind of break it loose a little bit, and, you know, it'll stay where it goes until you do that, and then it doesn't move. So that's the product. Hope you like it. Okay, I just want to make one more note here on this. Both the cam handle version and the thumb knob version, you can move the tightening feature from one side to the other. Very, very simple. You simply unthread the bolt and move the handle to the other side and the bolt through this side, and it can be on the right or left. So yeah, choice is yours. All right, now I'm gonna try to do my best to show you devices that can fit and kind of show you how much rotation you can get out of each one depending on the size of it. So if we start relatively small, you know, Garmin Montana series in a rugged mount, again, you got amps pattern, it bolts right there. If we were to loosen this up, and I can only kind of guess to get on the bolt pattern, but you can pretty much go full parallel with the ground before it contacts the windscreen, you know, and then coming down, you know, you can go plenty far down. You're still above the display. I think most guys are gonna, you know, you're gonna end up somewhere in the middle, and you're probably gonna leave it there and never touch it again. But that's where that rides. This is a little bigger unit, Trail Tech Voyager Pro. You know, these can mount with just the plastic mount here with the amps pattern. Semi-similar size. That's right where it would be, is like that. We can loosen, and again, if I'm looking at that, keeping it centered, again, you're about full horizontal there, parallel with the ground. It'll be a little bit less if you're running the billet cage that they offer to go around the Trail Tech device, like such. Again, right there to, you know, close to horizontal. Not quite there, but close. I know a lot of you guys are using foam mounts. So here's the quad lock mount here. That's it's a little difficult to use without a phone. This is an iPhone 14 Pro Max case. That's the size of this. This is the quad lock part. Again, you've got the amps bolt pattern there, and that would mount directly to that. And so if we pop the phone in there, you could run it in the portrait orientation. It goes about horizontal there with this particular mount on it. I'm not super familiar with the quad lock stuff, but obviously down in that region, you're going to be blocking the TFT display, mounted in landscape mode there. Again, we get, I don't know, if you called this 0 degrees being parallel with the ground, you're probably at, you know, 5 degrees, maybe 10 down or something, but this is probably about the perfect angle you want, you know, in a standing position there, maybe a little bit lower sitting. And then lastly is the Zumo, and I think we'll just throw that on real quick so you can see it, because I know it's a very popular mount. A lot of guys run the Zumo XT from Garmin. So I'm just gonna mount this with 2 of the screws for time's sake. There's the Zumo device here. Let's see. Right there, and then pop that loose, and again, it's probably at, you know, 10 degrees downward, you know, not quite parallel with the ground, and obviously this is more or less where you're gonna want it most of the time.